I kind of wish I got to record a bit more of this because the building process for this and especially this transition right here was really fun. But doesn't really matter. First thing I want to do is add some particles. Right, that's looking pretty good. Then move that up, and I think that should be enough. So these are just going to follow the player around here. So they're in 277. So I want a lock to player X for -1 in 277. So now I want these to fade on. In this beat here, I want that to fade on 277. In order for it to fade on, it needs to be off. So turn it off there. Okay, so I've scaled these up and copy and pasted them around. These are just some slopes. Now I need to animate it. 278 needs to lock to player X, and this needs to be in a new group. And then I'm going to copy and paste all of that, move it up a layer, build helper, and then we're just going to do that. Right, now copy and paste that, build helper, 11. For some reason I'm like really rushing this, I don't need to. I know build swaps are supposed to be kind of stressful, but I don't find them stressful at all. I do just really enjoy the process. I don't know why this isn't visible. This should be visible. Okay, it is. I think that'll do. Three's enough. Should be able to just warp this to make it just a bit wider. That should be pretty good. That's looking good. Right, now I need to loop this. So it needs to toggle off, but before it toggles off, it needs to toggle on. That should do the trick. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is make this disco ball move out the way. And I don't really know how I'm going to do it. I wasn't the one that built this, Dilton did, and he did an excellent job of it. In order for me to move it, I kind of need to know what it is. So if I just move 285 upwards, I want to go up 200, getting quite a lot of time because I want to exponential it. And what I can do here is go onto this layer. All I need to do is add a black bar using the same values as that. So paste color. And then I can span these along the bottom. So from here, I want to lock these and then go down 20. I think 20 is reasonable. And then 20 again, 20 again, and then kind of 20. Then that can lock to the player X as well. That should be fine. Paste color. I'm going to link these together so I can move them around if need be. So that is there. I have about 6 or 7 minutes left. I think I can make a nice simple but good design out of this. So the first thing I want to do is make a little slope down here, and I think that should set it out to be a sloped base structure. I'm going to slope the edges. I don't want the edges to go all the way around. I think it'll look better without that happening. So that will do for now. And all I really need to do is make this black. This should be a really quick structure to build because it doesn't need to be overly decorated. It's like a transition. So from there to there, and then turn that back round, move it up and across there, down to there. And then I just want one of these scaled up and copy and pasted downwards, and then a little slope here. And that's a really nicely optimized base of a structure. So I want that black, and then I can delete these. And that's pretty solid so far. I can definitely make it more interesting. Let's add some designs to this. Right, I'm very sorry about this. My screen recorder does this a lot. Not only did the audio come out really terribly and the device audio came out much louder than me, but it stopped recording. I made a couple of designs. I'm going to add a little bit more. I have about 2-3 minutes left. But yeah, that's really frustrating. I can't really do anything about it. I just need to check my recording every now and again, otherwise I would have carried on. So I made these little designs, but I think there needs to be something down the edges. So if I copy and paste this down, I think that's quite an interesting look where it's kind of outside the lines. And I can do that on this side here, and it separates these two blocks. I already like that much more. So I think potentially all I really need is just one extra bit inside this block here. So maybe across there. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. I want to extend that slightly. Maybe not in line with that. Good. And I think the spikes are going to match the slant. So slope them like that. that is looking good. I'm very happy with that. I need to make sure that don't fade, don't enter, and no glow is on. I am very happy with that. I will record showcases at the end. I'm having a couple of teething problems. I haven't really done any building videos at all, apart from when I time-lapse it. So that's pretty much it for this one. I did about 18, 19 minutes. Doesn't really matter if I do the whole thing. This is a full level we're talking about. I'm actually supposed to do 30-minute rounds, so I'll probably come back to this and just copy and paste the blocks around, but I don't think that's a very good thing to do on a video. But the next one I will be doing is a level called Mafia. I won't show you it beforehand. Here's just a little bit without the audio, because I have to record without audio now, because for some reason that was absolutely dreadful. But there's some pretty cool things. I'm really proud of this text here. I would say this is probably the better level of the two, or it definitely was when it started out. I am noticing some inconsistencies in 3D there. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually fix Dilton's part. So I need to move these up so I can just separate them. Are these on different layers? Please say they are. They are. Brilliant. They're on different layers. So I really like this idea. But I think it only works if one of the surfaces is facing the top, and then you have... I'll just show you. It'll be much easier to just show you. All I need to really do is move these up, extend these down just so they don't overlap, and maybe just fix the warping in this one slightly. That's better. Right, now I can delete all this just for optimization reasons and turn it around. That's all I needed to do with that. Nice and simple. In fact, I might not turn it around yet. I'll turn them all around together. Next layer. So again, just move these up. Good. I'll move that down and that down. These down and delete these. Okay, I'm probably going to time-lapse this because I can see this getting very boring. Okay, I've managed to make this. So if I turn that around, and then I can link it together again, we now have it going in the right direction. Now I can replace this one. I don't know how this is going to work with the pads, because it does mean it covers the pads. However, that is a problem for another day. Right, this is looking much better because the 3D is correct. It's my pet peeve. I absolutely refuse to build without 3D. By the way, this gameplay is really fun. I'm very, very proud of it. I'm not really sure what to do. Although this looks great, he's made it very difficult to work with because I don't really want to animate every single one of these blocks, and I'm guessing they won't be. But I also don't want to completely judge the rest of the level. I suppose that is the point of doing a build swap. I think the first thing I can do is just copy and paste these around a little bit more. I don't see any harm in doing that. It does make it relatively difficult to see where the structures are, having things like that. So I think the best thing for me to do is add some particles here, just a little subtle overlay. I know you're not really supposed to do this in a build swap, but I don't think it matters too much because this is a full level we're talking about here. I'm just going to steal these. I think these will give good energy with different colour choices. And it's pretty much exactly what I would have made anyway, so I don't really see the point in not using them. So, here, that is way too bright. But you kind of get the idea with this. I reckon that will be pretty good, and I don't think I need this extra layer of it. But I will have these black particles over the top. Right, that's solid. It definitely could be worked on. Maybe change the black to white. That could look good. That is looking good. And I think actually having them a lower opacity would definitely help. And then what I can do is copy and paste them, move them back by one. Not that that's entirely necessary. Put them in a new one and then make them black and even lower opacity. Yeah, that's looking good. I think saws are the next thing to make. I don't really know how to kind of fit the vibe. Maybe something that I did in Thinkploid, which is an upcoming level of mine. I could maybe layer the... Oh, I have a good idea. I have a very good idea. So I want the base colour to be the same colour as these. So if I take that off and then copy the values of that and then paste colour, that's pretty nice. Okay, great. Now I want the next bit to be black. Good. Now here comes the creative part. I want to cover that with this colour. So copy values, paste colour. Oh dear. Brilliant. That's exactly where I want it. So now I need to scale this down to about 119. Right, now I have a blank canvas that looks pretty weird, but can definitely be worked on to make it look good. I'm almost tempted to make a really unoptimized one, which is unlike me, but I think it could look cool. I'm definitely going to try it, but it might not be worth the object. So I want to custom these fairly slowly and push that out to the side like that. Now if I turn off animations for a little bit, first things first, actually want to link these. And if I make a circle with this, it could look cool. It could also look absolutely naff, but I reckon the idea's there. Oh, it's hard to keep track of what you've already done. This definitely won't be worth the object count, but it might be worth it to use as an effect further on in the level. This is borderline impossible to keep track of. I think it ends there. That's looking good. So if I turn animations on again, still looks crap. Let's just lower the brightness. Right, lower the brightness again. That is looking good. That is exactly what I wanted. Maybe slow it down a little bit. I really like that. It's 144 objects though. So I'm going to have to use this for a background or something. And that is a banger saw design. It's just so many objects. Especially when I do plan on putting quite a few saws around. If I make this nice and large, this could pulse on as a background every now and again. It's just something to think about. Oh, look at the center. That is beautiful. Maybe if I make it even darker, you can see it more. That is something I'm quite proud of. I love it. But unfortunately, I still have issues with this. I might disable this and then I can have a center ID. So I've disabled this so that I can rotate things in the middle at the same speed. So I want to copy the values of this, paste state, paste color, and then move it up by 2. Maybe make it a little thinner. That's relatively solid. Trying to line it up a little better, like that. Good. And maybe 45 degrees as well. Maybe 45 degrees and scale it down. And then I can have some sort of curvature. Paste state, paste color, move up by 2. Some sort of curvature like that. That might look naff. I don't really know. Also, doing that will mean it needs a center group, which isn't much of an issue. Maybe move them in a bit. Maybe just one in. I kind of like that, especially when these are going to be rotating and you're going to be moving relatively quickly through the level. That should be sufficient. So I need to add that to a group. So 254, and then I want a center group, 255, and then I want 254 to move around 255 through 30 seconds, and I want it to move 6 times. That might be a little too slow. Right, I'll link that as well. I think that'll do for now for a saw. I'm sure they can be updated after. Let's see how it looks. It doesn't look very good. That looks really bad. Move these off a bit more just so I can separate them. And definitely move quicker. Maybe you can't see your design as much. Oh, actually, I kind of like it. It looks out of place. Maybe some glow on it would help. So glow's going to have to be quite a high layer. Or I could have one of these. Still quite a high layer. If I disable that, add it to 254 and make it a low opacity. Maybe not that low. There you go. Now it has a bit more texture. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm happy with that. And now I need to link that all together. So I'm just going to play the level so I can see where your player goes. And now I'm going to copy and paste this whilst build helpering it, otherwise it will break. And there'll inevitably be one that I forget. I have 2 around here, 1 down here. Let's have 2 there as well. And then I have 1 right up here, another there, and another there. That one there. And don't worry, they're not going to look this bad. They will have varying sizes. This is just the quickest way of doing it, and I'm all about speed, even if I'm not trying to do any sort of speed build. But I do just work really quickly in the editor. Sometimes my brain can't keep up with my fingers and I lose track of what I've just done. I am so quick. This is pretty good. I think that may be enough saws now. I think this will be the last thing I do in this. I have done enough. I don't really need to do much more. I still will have more time, so I can do what I want after the recording, but I think this is good for the recording. This will pretty much do. If you have enjoyed the video, I would appreciate you subscribing. It helps me out a lot and doesn't take much effort for you. Also, let me know if you would like me to continue doing build swap videos like this. It's not really my style, but I thought I'd try something new. It would be nice to get some more varied videos out, because I know people really seem to like my beating every 3-star series, but I enjoy doing it, but it gets a bit tiring after a while. It's just the same thing over and over again. Although it does get views, that's not the whole reason I do this content, despite the clickbait. I think this is looking good. Glow needs to be turned off, but these saws are actually really nice. I think they have a nice level of detail. It doesn't really take away from the level, it just adds to it. Sometimes when you have something that's way too detailed, it just completely annihilates levels. Right, it's time for the showcases, so I will just record them. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye.